All right, this is Scared Talk. I am Danny, and I'm here with Captured Katrina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Just me and Katrina today. We're going to be talking about a brand new film just hit theaters tonight. And so we're going to get this review out ASAP so you guys can get a little taste of what you can look forward to if you go and see this. It is called Until Dawn. Oh, yeah. It is a video game adaptation from a PlayStation video game, which is a very popular video game that has quite a following. I will say I have not played the game myself. And I do know that the movie is very different from the game. So if you're a big fan of the game, don't go into this movie expecting to see a movie version of the game because it's not. From what I know, I don't know what the changes. I don't know what's the differences, but I'm just, our review is just basically, people who've only seen the movie. So yeah, if you're a big gamer, you might be disappointed with what you see if you're expecting to see the game.
Although I heard people talking about it when we were coming out that do play the game, and they didn't seem disappointed with the movie, but it did sound like they were talking about how the game is very different, and it sounded like they have a preference. They sounded like they preferred the game over the movie, but they didn't seem to be unhappy with the movie.
Okay.
I didn't talk to them personally. I was just kind of listening.
All right. Well, we got a few actors here. We got Ella Rubin, Michael Cimino, Odessa Azion, and I'm not going to say this correctly, probably Ji Young Yu.
Yeah.
I think
you might
correct.
have said it. Ji Young Yu.
Those are like the four. Then we got Belmont Camelli. He's another one of the main ones. So we have like four main characters. Five main characters that are in the movie. There's one that's like, kind of the main character, but the rest of them are in the movie for pretty much the same amount of time. It's directed by David F. Sandberg and written by Blair Butler and Gary Dauberman.
So, is anyone who is part of the video game part of the writing?
It doesn't look like it. I was wondering that because it just says screen story and screenplay. It doesn't say like characters created by or story by or anything like that. So it looks like they completely did their own thing with this one. They just
I wonder how the game creators feel about the game. I mean, about the movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, they probably made a decent amount of money off of the rights to be able to make the movie.
Yeah.
So, they might not be happy about the result, but I'm sure they're happy about their bank. A group of friends trapped in a time loop where mysterious foes are chasing and killing them in gruesome ways must survive until dawn to escape it.
Okay.
So there you go. All right.
So
subscribe.
Yes,
you gotta subscribe before we get into it. Subscribe, and that will alert you when we have new content out. Look back through our catalog. We have over 300, almost 400 episodes for you guys to check out.
Oh, and we'll probably be doing like a special one for the 400th.
Yeah. And go to patreon.com/scaretalk if you want to hear spoilers. We're going to stay away from spoilers for this portion of the review. If you want to hear spoilers about this film and all the other movies that we review, you're going to have to go to Patreon and sign up for one of those tiers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What were you going to say?
Okay, so without getting into spoilers, this we already know from the trailer and from the description. It's kind of like one of those movies that it keeps starting over and starting over, but it's unique in the sense that like oftentimes those movies start over and it's like the same night again. It's the same thing again, the same day, whatever. And then they're trying to change something to make it different. Where this one, it actually is when it starts over the same way in just like that quick second. And then everything else is different.
Everything else different. Yeah.
And so they don't know what to predict. Yes.
Which was funny.
I love how they did it because you have to address the fact that, okay, this has been done 1,000 gazillion times before and we're doing it again. So you have to address that. And I think they addressed it in a very good, comedic way.
Yeah. I thought that the writing was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I thought some of the lines were funny. There's a couple of characters especially that, and it wasn't like jokes necessarily. It was just kind of like, that's a funny thing to say in this moment.
And I liked the personalities. I thought that the personalities, I really love when movies have genuine personalities, like things that you feel like, an actual friendship, you would say this kind of stuff to each other.
Yeah.
And I felt like these felt like real genuine friends.
Yeah.
And when they said like corny lines, they kind of acknowledged that it was corny, and like kind of joked about it being corny,
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that because you would do that, if like one of your friends says something that's like, oh, how cliche, you would say that,
Yeah.
and you don't just let him get away with saying something dumb and just, and so I felt like it was good, genuine, dialogue.
Yeah.
And I thought the acting was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked all the characters pretty well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. There wasn't really any annoying characters. There wasn't anybody that was like just I want them off screen, There wasn't anything like that. They were all pretty likable.
Yeah. And they all had their own little gimmick or personality or something that they offered. There was a time in the movie where I was like, oh, Kaylee Hyman would have been like great for this part.
That's funny. Yeah, that's your girl.
Yeah.
She's your favorite.
She does good with like being a genuine friend, and like a fun, like just like a fun, character to have in that like friendship circle.
Yeah. I thought the effects were good. I thought the killers were really fun.
Yeah.
And the deaths themselves were
gosh,
pretty crazy.
So fun.
Yeah. There were multiple laugh out loud moments with the kills.
Absolutely.
And our whole theater.
The whole theater. Yes. Yeah. It was so fun. This was a fun crowd to go with. We've had some really interesting experiences with theater crowds.
Yeah.
But this one, they were unruly a little bit, but in a fun way. It was like, okay, these are our people for sure. And they were like just totally having fun with it. And,
this movie had those moments. Like the jump scares were good.
Yeah.
And it had the like tense moments where it's like, what's gonna happen? Is there a jump scare coming? And so someone's like, boo, in the theater.
Yeah,
like,
it was it was funny. And then they're like, bro, like, it was funny. At one point I like to still hold my guy's hand in the theater, and I'm holding his hand, and then like a jump scare, and he like grabs like he definitely
there was a lot of jump scares. And some were better than others, but see this in theaters and you'll get that experience. I don't think anybody can see this and not jump a little or, you know, feel the tension.
Yeah.
Does a very good job at that.
What do you think of like the look of the villains?
I thought mostly I liked it. I thought there were a few that I really liked. There's like a witch that scene was pretty crazy and intense. And the Wendigo, I think is what it's called. It's like a Native American like folklore monster, and that looked cool. The killer guy, I liked him.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
he was cool.
I was like, we need that mask.
Yeah. Some of the other ones though, like they're kind of like demon looking.
Yeah,
they were running around and stuff. They were okay. You didn't really get a good look at them though either. They were kind of just like real quick pop up, or they were kind of in the darkness. You didn't get to see.
There was one that I thought was really dumb. Okay. And it was like outside, and it was like standing. It was just like a shadow or whatever.
Oh, are you talking about the huge thing?
Yeah. I was like, okay, like Baba Duke at this point or something.
That caught me off guard. I was like, oh wow,
it just didn't go with everything.
Yeah, I guess you're not escaping. Like,
okay,
that's what the point of that was. I
guess. It didn't like. It was bug me, but it was just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. The wrap up story, there is reasoning that is given for this place and for why they're there and why these different things are happening. It's fine. I didn't need that though. I didn't really need a explanation.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I mean, I don't mind the explanation. The thing is I walked out, like I had to go to the restroom, and so then you had to relay to me. I walked out right at like the pivotal point where you're getting the explanation.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get to like experience the whole explanation. And I don't know that we needed the whole story. It sounds like that it wasn't as needed. It's just how is this happening? That was helpful or beneficial for the urgency of them needing to survive.
Yes.
Yes.
That I would agree with, but I'd be okay with it just being that's the rules.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. Like it's kind of one of those movies where you don't need to get that deep into the reasoning behind why these things are happening and the psychology of it.
Well, that's the thing. They were trying to decide. I feel like this was one of those movies where they didn't really decide whether they were going to want to be taken seriously or whether they wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
And so they tried to combine the two.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can work, but I feel like there is a part of that it's like, okay, you're trying to be taken a little too seriously. It would be more fun if you just let it be fun.
Yeah.
Because they definitely tried to add in that whole psychology stuff, the whole combining trauma and fear and all that. And, like, I feel like that's a different movie. Like, that's like, okay, do a different movie that you are hitting on those topics where it will actually be taken seriously, where it will actually be like meaningful. This movie was fun. It was like it made me think of like a Knives Out kind of like what's that other one? The game. Yeah, the Ready or Not. Yeah. Like Survive the Night kind of thing. it would be like if those movies tried to add some like extra deeper meaning, you know?
Yeah. So, you gotta stay
in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Know what movie you're making.
Yeah.
Don't try to turn it into something it's not.
Yeah.
And they definitely tried to turn it, and that I didn't need at all.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, like it made me wonder what, and I didn't know yet if it was how close it was to the video game, but it made me wonder like, oh, is this one of those video games that there's deeper meaning within the video game and stuff? And so
yeah, maybe the story of the video game has that stuff, but it makes more sense in the game.
Especially because I think this is a game that is like pretty long lasting gameplay. And so it's kind of hard to do that in like one movie. Because it makes me think of like The Last of Us. They're not trying to do that in one movie. You know, they're doing a whole series, and there's a reason for that, because it's a long gameplay game. And if you're going to be true to it, then you need to have something longer than a movie. And so
Last of Us is the best example of an adaptation of a video game on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen the first parts. You're already on the second season. I'm still on the first season. And holy cow. Yeah. And there were times in this movie that I was like, I could see how this would be gameplay. Like I could see how this would be like points where it's like dark and like she's having to use a light and like the red lights flashing and stuff. I'm like, I could see this being like something where you're like, oh my gosh, where am I walking to? I can't see, you know, like in like gameplay. And then like where they're trying to like figure out, should we like get more information here, or should we just go this way? And are we going to help this person, you know? And it's like those decisions you have to make within a gameplay and stuff.
And there's like an hourglass going. Like a timer.
So
I'll have to play the game just to kind of see how different it is. Or how similar. So why don't we look at the critics and see what they think of this one? It just came out, so there might not be a lot of reviews.
Yeah, there's not a lot. There's not a popcorn meter yet, but there is a tomato meter. Only 42 reviews. So I imagine this could change a bit. Right now it's standing at 62% for the tomato meter. So it's fresh, but just on barely the edge. So it could go either way. And then IMDb has it at 6.1. And let's see how many reviews are there. Only 749. So we've got a long way to go before we have like a decent amount of IMDb reviews. And then Google doesn't have anything, but Screen Rant has it as an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a website. They're pretty I don't know. They're kind of interesting with how they do ratings and stuff.
Yeah, they're usually not very common on this Google search of reviews.
And it's just one person. It's their score. Yeah, they read an article.
So this one person thinks it's 8 out of 10. So the couple audience reviews on Google are kind of go between 5s, and you got a 5, a 2, a 4. So it's kind of like mixed.
Okay. What are you going to give it?
So I think I'm going to give it, I kind of want to give it like 2 scores, you know, because like enjoyability, this was very enjoyable. It was a lot of fun to watch. Rewatchability, absolutely. I would watch this movie again for sure, in theater again for sure. I'd watch it at home. Like this was fun, really fun to watch. So that definitely affects the score of going up. Story-wise, there were a few things that I'm like, that doesn't, it doesn't make sense, or I don't like how they went in that direction or whatever. Again, like with that, taking it so seriously when it's kind of more of a fun vibe. I don't like when movies don't decide if they're a serious movie or a fun movie.
Yeah.
I liked this more serious content, but not for this movie.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is do 85.
Okay. Nice. And I pretty much agree with all of that. I will, I'll do 86.
I thought you would try to go higher than me.
A little bit higher. Because I think you're going to talk about some plot holes.
Yeah.
In the spoiler section, and I mean, maybe I didn't notice them, but even if there are plot holes, I don't think it's going to bother me that much.
I was like nudging you,
yeah. So I had to be a little higher because you obviously took something away that you were not enjoying so much, and I didn't. So
he's like, what are you talking about?
All right.
Well, there we go.
Yep, that's it for this portion of the review. Again, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're on the patreon.com/scaretalk so you can stick around for the spoilers. Here we go.